Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. Following on the heels of the previous dome video, I've created some of the, the outlines or the silhouette of the struts themselves, shown in yellow. Now, I did that, and I'll repeat it again just how I went about that briefly, but I've done, for the most part, the work that you don't have to suffer and watch while I do it. Sometimes the process isn't always as smooth as you would want it, shall we say. But there's also aspects, and I'll repeat them, that, well, it's up to you whether you follow it or not. It's entirely up to you. But there are little drawing techniques or processes that are better to understand than get caught with later on. In the real world, they don't make much of a difference, but when you're trying to use the drawing program well, you want to get the drawing accurate. Otherwise, as I said, it could trip you up. But in the real world, the tolerances that we're talking about, it's quite negligible. But I'll just hide that. You can see we've got the structure here. Again, I'll reiterate, all of this is based upon the very fundamental building blocks of this approach. I don't have to do anything particularly clever. I don't have to have any particular extension or app to do this, because it's a drawing-based approach to making a geodesic dome. Anyway, I have here half of the struts. In fact, what I am going to do, let me think, I'm going to delete them. And that one I'm going to delete, and that one I'm going to delete. Notice that there's ones there remaining. Thing is, I forgot to create a group when I made them up. So when you rotate them, quite often you'll double up, which is not always what you want. Right, let's actually just move that out of the way. I'll just move it back 10 meters, just for convenience sake. And I'll look at which ones. I've already looked at these ones in the previous video. Let's look at, say, this strut and this strut. Again, all I do is I take a guide and I run it down the face of the surface here, down the surface, and what I want to see, ideally, is that the guide, well, you can see it like, it's just glitching in and out. Let's see whether we can make it work here. Come on. You know you want to. Right there. See how it goes to purple, and it's showing you that the line that I'm creating is parallel, or 90 degrees, to the that edge that is in purple. So now I type in 100 because I'm assuming at this stage that the struts that we may well use will be 100 millimeters deep, 50 millimeters wide. Now, I'm going to make a comment on that. Hopefully I remember. But I try and then find the intersection. Come up here, because and it's found the intersection. Sometimes it doesn't actually show up as the intersection the way it shows on screen, but it's better when it does. Now, delete your guide, and I'm going to suggest hide that. Why did I emphasize those two things? Well, let's put a guide on down here. Quite what I want, is it? Let's just, come on. Guide working for me. This is one of the wee glitchy things. I don't know whether it's normal on 2017 version, but it can be. I find it a bit glitchy. Oh, there we go. 100 millimeters. Just to generate that that aspect of the SketchUp program for drawing parallel lines or perpendicular lines. Right, made sure I got it the X there, you know, for intersection. Okay. And make group. Right. Get rid of guide. Why? Because, like I said in the previous video, you've got to be careful that you don't assume that the guides are, how would you say, bisecting the angle between these two struts, because they're not. Close, yes. Close enough, yes. Real world, you know, yes, but it's still incorrect. Now, let's see. I don't know whether this is going to apply to this one. Let's unhide everything. Hide that, and I'm going to zoom. Oh, there we go. You can see that there, and it is tiny. So what constitutes tiny? Less than 1 millimeter. But the point is that when you're trying to generate some of your other geometry or models, clicking on the wrong part can bite you. It's like it can bite you, and it's something I hadn't appreciated. And you may wish to just take my word for it. It could bite you, and you really don't want that, because you'll chase some of your drawing efforts wondering what the heck you did wrong. Well, that was what you did wrong. You allowed your lying eyes to lull you into a sense of you're comfortable with the outcome, and you go, yeah, it's pretty good, looks right, carry on, and then it trips you up later on. Will it? No, possibly not, but can it? Yes. How do I know? Please do ask. No, I have been tripped up once or twice. Now let's just back out so I don't have any remnants of thing. And we'll bring that Silhouette, if it's a correct name for the highlighted in yellow sections. There we go. So we're back to where we started with the silhouettes of the 100 by 50 struts. At this stage, and this is something I touched on before, if you want to manipulate things, you are at the stage now where you could scale things. I suggest you don't, because I can't recall at what, there's a threshold where scaling can bite you, like lots of things, but you may wish to redraw certain aspects of your model. What the heck am I talking about? Well, I made the assumption that this strut was going to be 100 mils deep. What happened if I wanted to make it, in this case, 140? Okay, 140. Why 140? Well, in New Zealand, where I live, framing timber comes in 90 mil, not 100. And sorry, okay, I'll reword this. The struts that I'm indicating here in yellow are 100 by 50 rough sawn. They may not be exactly that dimension when you get it, so it's up to you. It's a good starting point, but maybe not what you want to use. You may want to use gauged timber, for whatever reason you may. And in New Zealand, the standard frame, frames are made up of 90 by 45 mil treated gauged timber. You can also get framing in 140 by 45 mil, and they are possibly ones that you may want to use. So let's assume we're in New Zealand and I wanted to make the frame out of 140. Don't worry about all that explanation, but just pretend you can make it 150, whatever. But you would repeat the same process using the new guidelines, these here, to make your new shadow, silhouette of that particular sized timber. Let's just hide that. Now get rid of the guide, because you may, when you come to do the create the next part, pick that guide up and it, of course, isn't the correct place. Hide that as well. Let's try and get this to generate. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it goes. 140. The reason I'm doing this option, and I'll mention about it in a moment, is if you go a little bit bigger, make it whatever size you want, but it's easy now to manipulate this. It's easier than it is the 100mm. All I need to do is I can take that and I can take a line down from it and draw in 100mm, and I can then modify this particular silhouette to whatever size I want, be it 90 or 100 or whatever. So it's just easy. I've done it in the past, and I've found that it's easier to truncate or chop down, redimension the wider piece than it is to expand the narrower or shallower piece. Anyway, it's up to you. There's nothing about that's critical, but you can quite easily now start creating your silhouette of the deeper timber, and it may be something that you want. You zoom in, you can see that there's only that tiny little bit that's out. Real world, not important. Drawing, quite important. You don't want to tear your hair out. Right, so there we go. Now, why would I want those? Well, knowing that this is the strut that I want to have a look at, I can throw my protractor, this thing here, called a protractor, on the surface here. I suggest, if you're using SketchUp, to hit the Shift key, and it will turn purple, the outline, because that will lock it onto that surface. Keeping the Shift key down, I can then click on that point, release it now, go there, and I see that I've got an angle of 78.8 degrees, about. That's close enough for what we're dealing with at the moment, so 78.8. So I can annotate my strut on this end, and I know that when I go out to the workshop, this strut will have to be cut at 78.8 degrees. Yay! Then I come across to this one, hit the protractor tool again. Once I've got the protractor on that surface, push the Shift key, remembering that I use a PC, not a Mac. Hit that, release the Shift key, come down here, and that's 80.3 degrees. So I'd write it down on there just by using your text facility within SketchUp or your particular drawing program. And you just go around, laborious though it is, and mark the angles that you want for that strut. Now, we won't go much longer than this, but if you want to make something like this, you may need to know these angles. And same thing, hit your protractor thing, get onto that surface. It changes as you go onto the surface. I'm going to select this one here, Shift key, sure it turns purple, click, and I know that the internal angle there is 53.3. Write it down so that you can create the cuts required out in the workshop. Now, what happens if you want to have a mitre? And I like this approach or idea. It does get a little bit fiddly, but I like this idea. I hit the protractor here. Yep, got it to lock in. And I know that that angle is 26.7. Strange how that works, isn't it? So I can write it down so I can go out to the workshop and create my my struts with those angles. Luckily for this type, it's 90 degrees here. All of them are. This is the way it's generated. If you want to create a bevel, this becomes a little bit more tricky, but it's doable. And you need to know this angle, and that is not going to be covered by me just now. because it can get a little bit tricky drawing it. So it's something we may look at later on if we develop up, if there's interest in this sort of work. But I like this approach, having the triangles, the boxes, the three-sided boxes made up, so you can have them pre-made, put them into a pile, and only need to worry about them when you go to assemble. But you will need some way of creating a separation here, that when you bolt things together, they don't all fold up and make a nice flat surface, which is not what you want for a dome. Just suggesting. Now, the problem is the two triangles up here. That's a bit of a nuisance. It's that flamin' flat, and is the case for all of these type of domes, that there is virtually no practical way of drawing and creating a fillet to go in to keep them open, to keep shape. And it's more than likely that you would simply bolt them together after having just whisked off a mil or so off the bottom, the very bottom edge of each one. So you'd put a tiniest little bit of a chamfer along the two boards here, and then you can join them together, and you'd get back to the actual shape that you've got here. I mean, it is really small angle. The consideration is that you forego being such, well, anal about the keeping this in shape, and you make this into a big square that has got a line through it, a brace, for bracing, so that your strut would have to be considered a brace, not actually part of this sort of approach. Don't worry about that, we'll go over that as well. This is not hard to do, but trying to make it a dome is. I'll just show you. If I put a guide up there, and let me just take another guide, reference it off of there. That angle, the dihedral angle between these two surfaces, results in, as I said, a very gentle transition from one surface to the other. But at that point there, remember this is a 6 metre dome, 6x6. It's only 17 millimetres. Well, you can half that, because so if you said that's 8 millimetres different, you know, for like the angle is really tiny and a pain in the butt. So you might just want to lift this point here up 17 millimeters and make it dead flat, so that if you want to clad it in a solid membrane, a solid cladding like plywood or some such, you can. Much easier. At that amount there, you could probably bend some ply over this and do it that way. Good. I don't know. But my recommendations is, or it will be at the moment, make this one flat, lift this point by 17 millimeters. It's not going to affect you much. In fact, have a look at some of the videos or photos where this type of dome has been created, and if you're lucky enough, you'll see that they are very flat in this area, and even quite flat in this area, and sometimes it just looks like it's flat. So yeah. Anyway, that's the extent of this video, just talking about the silhouettes of the struts. From here, I'm not too certain what we'll do next. Might even just look at showing you how I generate the different angles that you may need depending upon your preference for creating your dome. So, okay, that's it. Going to wander off, leave you alone. 20 minutes is way long enough for this sort of stuff. Really, the silhouettes were only half that long. The rest of the time was just me filling in some of the aspects or ideas that we need to consider. Rightio, I'll wander off. See you in the next one. Bye now.